Hey there, Puyo friends! Today, I've wanted to do something a little bit different today. Instead of doing a completely focused Mini Puyo lesson, I just want to go over this entire round between Tamarin-san over here versus Nil. This round, when I was looking it over, had a bunch of different concepts that lead into each other that I just can't possibly put into a single video. There's improvising off of misdrops. There's garbage harassment, garbage pressure. And there's even a GTR color conflict that you will definitely want to keep an eye on if you're still learning GTRs and stuff like that. If there's a concept that you still don't fully understand after this video, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll definitely keep in mind to make a Mini Puyo lesson around that idea. I got you, don't worry. So yeah, let's go on ahead and get started with this round. It's running a little bit slow, so we can take our time to look at both players at the same time. It starts off with a pretty classic GTR for both players. But Tamarin-san over here, I'm pretty sure, didn't mean to put the piece like this. If it was red on the bottom, green on top, it would have been perfect. That would have been the perfect GTR. But unfortunately, Tamarin now has to live with this decision for the entire round. But later on, you'll see that Tamarin will get to play around with this a little bit and benefit off of it massively. Now, something to keep in mind here, when you're building a GTR, this is okay because it technically works. When these blues pop, it'll allow the greens to chain as well. But when you put the green in the same place as the GTR sock, as I like to call it, you gotta be careful. This is now a really massive color conflict that Nil has. Let me illustrate. I'm going to use this aqua pen because green screens are not really nice to green colors. So imagine if you put a green Puyo in here, you pop all of this whole thing, all the greens in that space are all gone, which means you don't have blues here for your chain. Your chain cuts short. That's not good. Unless you're intending to cut your chain intentionally, but that's a much higher level concept once you're more familiar with Puyo Puyo. So you can't put a green in column 2. So you have to put the green in column 1, so you have to build upwards. So it does limit your options severely. Now in the meantime, Tamarin-san over here fires off a quick 2-chain. Remember that red that was just here that we needed to get rid of? Instead of popping reds by itself, which would probably send 1, maybe 2 garbage, they did a 2-chain, which instead is 2 whole rows of garbage in this case. So that is actually a pretty significant sealing effort for Tamarin on Nil's head. Now Nil is actually in a terrible, terrible situation right now. Nil needs a lot of pieces. So, Nil needs a few reds. A red over here and a red over here. To make these 3 reds, to make it ready to pop. But on top of that, Nil needs a green here. To make this green come downstairs to chain with this. You can't put a green here anywhere in column 2 anymore, because then you'll pop all of this, like I said earlier. That's a problem. On top of that, you still need reds to chain off of these reds in the GTR down here. So Nil needs even more reds up here. So what does that mean for Nil? Nil needs 1, 2, 3, 4 reds and a green. Actually, 5 reds, because they need a 5th red over here to actually pop the red cluster to start the entire chain. That's a lot of Puyo in a short amount of time you need. What are the odds that you're going to find double reds or maybe a green red? It's actually really low. It's like 2 out of 16 off the top of my head, something like that. Really low odds. So Nil needs time to go look for those pieces. But wait, what time? Tamarin-san's already on the attack again with this powerful 2-chain. And Nil never got the reds or the greens or the more reds they needed to make this chain work, and they lose the round. So, a couple of things to keep in mind here. Even if you do make a terrible tragic misdrop, a very well-timed hit can actually steal you the round right here. Tamarin-san only did two chains to actually take the round from Mill. They didn't need a 4 or a 5 or a 6 or even bigger chain to take the round. A well-timed hit can still take rounds. And maybe an unsafe play can also put you in a precarious situation as well. So be careful on how you build your DTRs, be mindful of your color conflicts, and don't give up if you make a misdrop. Because, again, improvisation, you might still take a round.